For those of you that don't know me, my name is Sarah Lamb Christensen, and I am the Assistant Director for Teaching and Learning. I taught for a lot of years in Park Rose, and I am a proud Park Rose parent, so I see a lot of familiar names within our attendees, and I'm really happy to be with you here. And hopefully, like Michael said, to walk through some things that will make this week, moving into this first week of school, hopefully easier, just give you kind of an understanding of what we will be asking kids to work through with these platforms. So I'm going to share my screen. And Michael, if you can let me know if you can see it, that would be great.
Yeah, we can see it. And one thing I would just say to our audience is that if you, a lot of times when you're in a Zoom call or a webinar, and this will be something for your kids too, if you're on a keyboard, you'll need to push escape if you're having a hard time figuring out, like, you want to check your email or you're checking other things on your screen, you have to push the escape button on your keyboard to get the Zoom call to minimize. And that's another, it's another practice thing that we'll be doing with students, because we experienced that with our staff this week. So appreciate that. Sarah, I can see the screen, everything looks good.
Great. So like Michael said, we're going to just kind of go through, and the way I've structured this is we're just going to kind of walk through the day. Through the eye of these tools that we're going to be asking your children to use this year for distance learning. So before we start looking at the tools, just a couple of things that we wanted to mention in terms of setting up a home learning space that we found has been really helpful with my own kids in the spring. So first, just finding a consistent space, and it can be anywhere in your house that is comfortable for you, anywhere in your home. That works, but kind of try to keep it consistent from day to day. Make sure you have a way to organize school supplies, box bag, backpack, whatever works. If you didn't get a chance to get to your schools this week to pick supplies up, please make sure you're checking with your classroom teacher. We do have lots of materials to start the year for your students. And then establishing a routine like a typical school day for getting up and getting dressed and eating breakfast. And so these are just some kind of things before we dig into the tools that we wanted to mention to get everyone on the same page. I also wanted to just clarify, because I know there's a lot of information that's out there, and we know that the spring was a time of crisis learning and we really had to jump in very quickly. And we've had the summer, your teachers have been working so hard all summer, and especially in these last 2 weeks, to learn these tools and to learn how they will help engage students every day. So I just wanted to take a minute to kind of differentiate between a couple of things here. So we have teacher facilitated learning, and that learning can happen in real time, like we're doing right now, face-to-face on a Zoom meeting, or it can be asynchronous, which means it's more flexible and can be worked into the time that works best for your family. So for example, videos that your child's teacher has recorded of instruction that then you can watch on your own time, and then accompanying activities to kind of deepen that learning. And those activities could be online or offline. And then we have applied learning, which is really experiences that allow for students to take everything they've learned together in their teacher time and with their peers and practice it, that application of new skills. So with that in mind, let's take a look kind of the daily schedule. And hopefully your schools have already communicated this to you. And if not, I know teachers have been busy making telephone calls and connecting with families around this. So our core learning block across those 4 elementary schools will start at 9 o'clock. And from 9 to noon, what I mean by core learning block is that's where a lot of that teacher facilitated learning is going to happen. So your child might be in Zoom meetings. Your child might be working on some assignments that then they're going to come and share with their class. They may be watching videos. They may be going to music. So it's that time where there's going to be a lot of interaction and around reading, writing, math, music during that core learning block time. Lunch for the entire district happens from 12 to 1, and you can pick up lunches at the 4 elementary schools and the middle school as well, I believe. Correct, Michael? Excellent.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so a couple of things just to highlight. You should receive communication on this, and one important thing to note for all our families and as you're communicating with neighbors and other families, we will serve meals each day from 11:30 to 1 o'clock. The 11:30 time, if students need, the reason we're starting a little early is because all of the elementary schools and the middle school will be open to provide lunch for our kids. It's also important to note that if they have siblings, even younger siblings, we will serve students and kids age 1 to 18 across the community. If a parent goes to pick up the meal, the student that they're picking it up for needs to be a student at one of the Park Rose schools, but it doesn't matter where you go to pick up the meal. One of the other things that's great news that we recently received from the state of Oregon is that all meals will be free in Park Rose across the district. And another component of evidence, another piece that we'll be sharing is each of the schools will be delivering to bus stops. So if you are really far from the school, we will be posting and delivering to particular bus stops where students will be able to pick up a meal.
Great, thanks, Michael. So then after hopefully everyone has had a chance to get some lunch, from 1 to 2:30 is some continued learning. And this will look a little bit different than the morning time because this is really that time where teachers have the opportunity to meet with small groups. If your child receives services in English language development or special education, this is the time where some of those small groups might be happening. There's some enrichment times as well. Some schools have some music opportunities in the afternoon. And then also time to really complete some of those independent pieces of work that then tie into what kids have done in their core learning block in the morning. Within this day as well, there's also hours that are built in for communication where teachers are available that if you have questions or concerns or something's not working with technology and you need help, that you can contact the teacher. And every teacher is setting some of those own hours themselves. So please make sure that if you haven't connected with your teacher around that, that you know the best ways to reach your child's teacher and to communicate. So one thing that is new this year for Park Rose that actually I think is a really good piece of new is that we have what's called Clever. And this is how your children are going to start their day in technology. And it's a one-stop portal that kids log into, and they just log into once. And once they're logged in to Clever, they are logged into everything else that they need for the day. And they can also access their Zoom meetings directly from Clever as well. And we'll talk a little bit about some of the different ways to get in. And then at the end, we will also have some time for questions, and I'll show you where you can find this information again so that you can access it as you actually get in to log into things. So if you're on a Chromebook, this is the way that kids log into their Chromebook. So they're gonna open up their Chromebook, and then when you pick your supplies up, you are given a badge that looks very much like this thing that says Clever down at the bottom. And all that kids have to do is hold that badge up right in front of their web camera after clicking this Clever badge login, and they'll get logged in to everything. On a PC or a Mac, it's also super easy. The only difference is you have to just go to your school's website and see that little link that says Clever there under students. So you choose that, and then this will pop up and you have that option of logging in with that badge again. On an iPad, there is an app for Clever. So you download the app, and again, it's the same process with that badge to log in. If you forget your badge, or you can't find it, or it gets piled under something on your dining room table, like what happens with me, then you can also log in with the username and password. And it gives you a hint right on the login there. It's that same number that started with an S that if you were with us in the spring, that you used in the spring to log into things. Another great tip is with that badge, if you have a cell phone that takes a picture, to snap a picture of that badge as well, because if it's on your cell phone, you can also just hold that directly up in front of the camera as well. If you should ever lose your badge, or you don't remember what your student's ID number is, your teachers have all of that information. So our goal is to make it as easy as possible for your child to get into the platforms for learning this year. It's just a one. And you can find it and I will have it right up. Or if you are going to answer right there. Right. So an extra thing is you have a Chromebook that you have borrowed from the district. You will have to make sure that you've connected your Chromebook to your home internet. So it's very easy to do. This is just a screenshot of my Chromebook. And down here at the bottom, you've got the internet symbol, and it will pop this up. You choose, you'll see I have no networks I'm connected to, so I choose that, and then you just need to choose the Wi-Fi that you're logging into your home or the hotspot, whichever you're using, and then just follow the prompts for the password. So once kids are logged into Clever, this is what they see. They have a page that belongs to them. They'll have an icon here that's their teacher page. So teachers have been busy this week creating their pages that then have all of the links that your kids will need. You'll also see a music link as well for our music classes. And then below here where it says elementary students are all of the different platforms that kids will be using in their digital learning. And so if kids click on one, they automatically will be directed to it and logged into it right away. If they want to come back to Clever, they just come back to Clever. So we're hoping this makes this easier for kids to kind of navigate where to be. When they click on their teacher name, it then also brings up specific links for their class. So for example, in this class, this is the link to the Zoom meeting that starts at 9 o'clock. So all that I have to do if I'm a kid is click on that, and it will take me right into my Zoom meeting with my teacher. So I did want to talk a little bit about Zoom security and the waiting room and what to expect when you get into Zoom. So we do have an educational account, which means that it includes extra security measures. Teachers retain control of all of the functions, so sharing, chatting, who's in the room, what participants can access the classroom, virtual classroom. And teachers will also be going through all of the Zoom protocols and features with kids as well. And then we have our Zoom room set up so that students can't enter a Zoom room without the teacher host being present. So when you log in the morning, your teacher will have to let you in. So you'll potentially see this, please wait, the meeting host will let you in soon, or please wait for the host to start the meeting. And that way we know we don't want kids in virtual rooms without an adult present, and nor will we ever have kids in a virtual room without an adult present. So that feature allows us to ensure that that is set for the start of the day. Also, I wanted to just touch really quickly kind of on what the toolbar looks like in case Zoom meeting is not something that you do frequently. We do know that in these first few weeks, kids are probably going to need some help with this, but teachers will be teaching all of this. Normally, you know, when we're in the building, we're teaching routines like how to be in a space together and how to listen and share, move in the hallway. So now we're going to teach Zoom routines. So a couple of things just to know, the mute button. So often, like we are now, we might be muted in the whole group and we're unmuting to share, or there might be times where everybody's unmuted. So teachers will go ahead and go over those protocols with kids so that they understand how to use that. When you join a Zoom meeting, you're joined with the video on, but you can easily click this if it's not a video type of day to turn the video off. But of course, we do hope that we have those videos on because we love to see those smiling faces in front of us. We do have the chat function for kids, and the teacher does have the option of turning it off. And I know a lot of teachers are starting the year with that chat option off so that they can really teach kids how to use it. This shows who's in the meeting. Teachers can also allow students to share their screen if they're sharing some work that they've done, and then clicking here just to leave the meeting. And I think Michael's going to talk a little bit about digital rights and privacy.
Hang on one sec. I'm responding to a question, and I'll be right with you.
Great.
So Sarah, as I've been responding and trying to, you know, keep letting people in.
Yeah.
One of the things that came to my mind, which you probably mentioned, because I'm listening and following along with questions. Did you talk about recommending to parents to take a picture of the badge with their phone?
I did. That's an awesome piece of advice. So yes, take a picture. Mm-hmm.
A couple of other things. The camera that does show up on the Chromebook, if you have a school-assigned Chromebook, you know, just make sure that camera is able to see the badge and that you're able to do that. It will respond to the QR code on the phone or on the badge. But also, you know, kids, once their login's working, it you know, works pretty quickly. So a few things about privacy I just wanted to talk briefly about, and then I'm going to stop and I'm going to provide just a moment to see if there's folks that you know, want to raise their hand and possibly ask a few verbal questions. We'll give that an attempt, because we're giving you lots of information. And if you joined us late, number one most important thing is we are recording this. We'll make sure that we post this to our webpage. So Sarah, one thing that would be appreciated at the end is just showing what we can take the presentation down and just show via the webpage where folks can go, where we'll post that with the parent help. Because we can talk a little bit about parent help next week, particularly with folks who are trying to connect with their classroom teachers. So the first area to discuss is what we call FERPA, Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act. So any student information for you all as parents and guardians, it's important to know that any work that your child does, whether it's online or at school, I mean, you have the right to know and see your child's educational records. And that's everything from an assignment they did to their report card to what's in their cumulative file at the school. You have that right, and the district's responsibility is to make sure that we're protecting those educational records for only the child and the family. So we cannot share that information. So one of the important things about being online and in Seesaw for elementary students is that your child should only be able to see their work unless we've asked you permission to share it otherwise. The teachers have the ability to show example students that are not students in the class. And so that's just an important thing to know, that if you have concerns about privacy, we've talked about these issues with teachers. And of course, we want you to let your school principal and your teacher know if you notice any concerns about that. That also has to do with if a teacher records a lesson, the recording of the lesson should not show students. It should only show the actual lesson itself. The teachers will be using a couple of tools that allow them to do what's called asynchronous teaching, meaning that they can record themselves, whether it's recording themselves on a computer screen or recording themselves in Zoom, so that it could be posted. Otherwise, we will not post student information onto the Seesaw site. There are two other acts that are very important to know about that really are rules that help protect students from someone taking their information. That is COPA, the Children's Online Privacy Protection Act, and there's also the Children's Internet Protection Act. And what that does, I've had questions from families about what if another person records my child from their child's computer? Well, number one, they can do that, but it is against the law and violates these acts. And we have the ability as a school district to report that. And you as family members have the ability to report that to the district so that we can report it. We hope that people wouldn't do that. But at the same time, we want to do everything we can to protect our kids while they're learning online, particularly as we are learning how distance learning works. So I'd like to pause and stop there. If you don't know how to raise your hand, you go to the bottom of your screen and go to participants, and you click on the little people icon. And on that people icon, you're able to raise your hand, and then I can actually unmute you and allow you to ask a question if you have a verbal question, or if you're more comfortable, you are welcome to keep putting things into the chat. And I'll do my best as Sarah continues with the presentation to respond to that as quickly as I can. I will pause and see if we have anyone who has raised their hand. Otherwise, we'll continue. Wait time is really wonderful on online meetings. All right, All right, Sarah, I don't have any raised hands, so I'm going to hand it back to you to.
I see two raised hands from my end, Michael.
Oh, you do? Okay, well, maybe I just need to take a look. Hang on one second.
So yeah, under the.
Oh, I see. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
All right. Galaxy guest, go ahead and ask your question. Let's see here. It says you're muted.
Hello.
There we go.
Hi there.
I can hear you now.
Welcome.
Hi. This is Ebony Kyson Johnson's mom.
Hi, welcome.
Hi. I had a question. I missed the school supply pickup yesterday. Will you guys still be doing that tomorrow or?
Yeah, thanks for asking that question. So tomorrow, you know, I know that we're all in our heads saying like, man, the way the world is working is kind of crazy. We are going to cancel school-based activities tomorrow because of this smoke.
Okay.
We are going to have the supplies available. All of the schools have the supplies on site, and so we do plan to make sure you get those. That you may not have them for Monday due to the situation outside. But yeah, as districts all around us, lots of folks are canceling school-based activities because they're recommending folks not be outside for extended periods of time. So if you didn't get materials, do you need a Chromebook?
No, I actually still have the one from last year.
Okay, great. So as far as the supply goes, in what school do your kids go to?
Prescott.
Okay, so I know that Prescott has supplies, and they did pass out yesterday, but I know that you can still get those, and I know Principal Watson's somewhere on the line, but we'll make sure that you get what you need when we're able to open the site back up, and ideally that's Monday.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome, thanks. All right, I think we have one more hand.
I think so. On the panelist side, one of our guest panelists, it looks like.
Okay.
Ready?
Yep, we can hear you.
Hey, we didn't get a Clever badge. We didn't pick up a Chromebook because we have a laptop. Where were we supposed to get that?
I know a lot of the schools. Did you have a chance to pick up the school supplies?
Yeah, yesterday.
So I know a lot of schools tuck them inside the backpacks.
Oh, a backpack?
Sarah, make sure this is, Sarah,
Yeah.
make sure this is an elementary parent.
Elementary.
Oh, elementary. Yeah, I just unpacked the bag and I don't see one.
Okay, what I would do is just let your teacher, your child's teacher know, because we have the ability to print those. And
Okay.
let me go back and I'll just show once again so you know, because you don't need the badge to get in. You can actually get in without it. So it would just be, let me come back here.
I wrote down what you said. It said you can use an ID from last year or the teacher has it.
Yep, so it's that S, it's a number that starts with an S and then there's numbers after it. So, and the teachers have those too. So if you don't have that, please do contact them and they can easily pull that up for you as well.
Cool, thank you.
What school do your kids attend?
A child attends Sacramento.
Sacramento. So I know Sacramento still has a lot of supplies, and I can just let them know that, you know, that if possibly you didn't get a badge in your bag.
Very good. Thank you.
Yeah,
thank you. Thanks for being here.
All right. Did we see any other raised hands right now,
Yeah,
Mike?
I see. Okay.
I think we have one more in our panelists, maybe.
Yeah. I think it's Josephina. Josephina, do you have a question? I think as a panelist, you can unmute yourself, but you have to unmute yourself.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. Hi.
Thank you so much. I was just curious if you can talk a little bit about parent view.
Parent view on Synergy?
Well, I was told that this is the way that we have to sign up for parent view, and I didn't know what the function is of this. My child is starting middle school.
Oh, okay.
Sarah, did you just ask for me?
Yeah, do you want to talk a little bit about, we had a question about Parent View, Christine, and for middle school parents and how they sign up for Parent View.
So if you'd want to talk to your school secretary, the middle school secretaries, to see if you already have an account. And if you don't already have an account, we can create one for you very quickly and easily and send you the information by email. But the purpose is that that's a place for you to see all your students' assignments, all of your students' marks, any messages from the teacher. All of those kinds of things are what come out through Parent View for us.
Thank you, Christine.
Thank you. And then the other question that I had was, my child is going to be a student of AVID. So I wanted to know if AVID is going to be a time with asynchronous time when they do continuous learning, or is that in the morning when they practice getting together with their home teacher, or how does that work?
Yeah, so for our middle school students and high school students, they essentially will have their class schedule. Each day they will have 2 classes except Wednesdays and Fridays. So the AVID class will be on the particular day. So for instance, if their AVID class is 4th period is going to happen on Tuesdays. So they will have 2 hours on Tuesdays together as an AVID class, and they will have their support time, the tutoring, all of that will happen during that time. And then of course, when we, if and when we go to a hybrid, they'll be able to be with their AVID class at least, in person once a week. But to start with distance learning, they will have class for 2 hours once per week.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And it looks like
All right.
we have one more, I think, Michael, and then
Yeah, we have one more, and I know there's some in the chat, and those folks in the chat, I will get to answering your questions. So I think it's Sal.
Yes, hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, hi.
Hi, so I know you guys went over the kind of schedule for the day. Is there going to be any built-in kind of recreational time for the children to connect, or is all of the time on screen going to be solely dedicated to academics?
Yes, we are encouraging breaks and recreational ideas. One of the things, one recent partnership that we signed on, which will be coming to us in the next few weeks, is we've hired some consultants to help make suggestions and videos for kids to do activities, whether it's outside or in the house, that will keep, that will encourage, physical activity. Because obviously, doing things from home, we don't, as I told a principal and a teacher today, we do not want the kids on the screen the entire time. We want them taking breaks. We want them to be able to have some time to do their work. And one of those components of breaks would be making suggestions. Now, also that would be through Seesaw, and we would be including, videos, suggestions of things that kids can be doing at home, and parents will be able to look on as you navigate Seesaw, as I have as a parent, as well as as an administrator. We're definitely going to look to ramp that up and have regular physical activities for the kids to do.
Awesome. So maybe I phrased it the wrong way. I meant more not so much recreation in terms of physical activity, but being able to connect with friends and talk like they would as if they were at lunch, or I know they're going to be breaking up into small groups for work, but like having fun time with friends.
Yeah, we're going to do our very best to make that happen. I know that teachers, I think what you'll see at the beginning of each school day will be, kind of a morning meeting where kids are, socially and emotionally connecting and having activities to get to know one another. The other thing with elementary kids, though, that we have clearly said to our teachers is that although we have the ability to break kids out into small groups, we don't want kids online by themselves without an adult supervising them. And we know that we have families at home that are having to supervise and help support all of this work, and we're greatly appreciative of that. But we will encourage time online that's just about relationship building versus just the academics. And we're hopeful to accomplish that.
Awesome, thanks.
You're welcome. Thanks for joining us tonight. All right, couple more questions, Sarah, and I'm going to answer these 2 questions and then I'll let you get on with your presentation because we're at
No problem.
7:15. All right, I think Galaxy S9, welcome. Do you have a question for us? Okay, are you there?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Hi, good evening. Do you have a-
Hi. The question that I have is like my daughter's gonna start kindergarten on Russell Academic School. I'm gonna be working from home, and then I'm gonna be with my daughter those 3 hours that she's gonna be in class. But the question that I have is she's gonna be like her computer's gonna be on mute because from my work is like privacy information when I'm gonna be working and talking in my phone, and she's gonna be in mute and noise is not gonna, the teacher's not gonna hear what I'm talking in the phone.
Yeah, the only time students will be unmuted is if they're responding to the teacher's question, or maybe they're talking with a small group of students. I know that there's a question in the chat about just video access. As the hard thing about distance learning is that there may be activities where students are asked to use video, but I think in your conversations with classroom teachers, if you're uncomfortable with that, it's just really important you express that to the teacher. And we find different ways for your child to interact verbally and obviously via video, because there will be activities where teachers may say, students may record themselves for a lesson on Seesaw, but it's not absolutely essential. We want your child participating and engaging.
Yeah.
And video will be one of those pieces, but we also want to honor your privacy. So they will be on mute most of the time.
Okay.
You'll just be able to hear the teacher in the background.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
All
All
right.
right, Sarah. Why
Okay.
don't we move ahead and we'll do a Q&A at the end for folks that want to stick around.
Yeah, definitely. Okay. Can you see it again?
Yep.
Excellent. All right. So the next tool we're going to talk about really is more for elementary school. So if you are a middle school family, this will just be information for you just to hear, but your children will not be using this. So at middle school, the primary tool they'll be using is Google Classroom, which is something that was used in the spring. So hopefully kids have some familiarity with that. But in elementary school, we have chosen a different tool that's called Seesaw. And I know that some teachers in Park Rose in the spring used this tool as well. So for some of you, this won't be new. But essentially what this is the area where students' assignments are going to be posted. So those things that they're going to be responding in connection to the learning that they've done together with their Zoom meeting class. And it's a really creative platform, and it has lots of easy tools that are within it. And it's one of the reasons the district chose it, because right within this, and I'll show you some of it, kids can draw, they can record video, they can record themselves speaking or reading, they can write things, they can upload things that they've created in something else, or connect something from their Google Drive that they've created. And then within that, they can do the assignments, they can submit them, and the teachers can provide feedback directly to kids. So when students are in Clever, there is a Seesaw icon, and they click on that, and it will bring them to this screen. And so this is what Seesaw looks like from the student's view. One thing to know is that students do belong to 2 different classrooms. Some will belong to more on Seesaw, but they'll have an elementary homeroom, which is the one where they're going to be interacting most often. But all students also have a music room as well, because just like when we're in session, all elementary school students will get music throughout the week from our wonderful music teachers. So this is a really easy thing for kids to navigate once they learn it. They will only see their name here, and their icon will always appear with their name. Sometimes you'll see announcements and things that are posted right when you pop up from your teacher, but the main area that kids are going to be working in is this activities area. So when they click on that activities button, they'll see you have, these are the things I still have to do, and they will pop right up here. These are the things I have in progress. So maybe your kids started working on something and you know, life happens and so had to come back to it later. They can come back to those things later. And then they also can click on this and see all the things that they have completed as well. And then there's also a place for announcements. So your child can receive announcements from the teacher. So if there's something exciting that's happening or something that you need to know as student and family, that'll come in your inbox and you get a little red icon that pops up saying that you have a message. So in that activities tab, your student will start getting assignments, and the assignments look something like this. And what's really great about Seesaw is that your teachers can make these directions about what to do really clear, because not only can they type them, they can also include icons, they can record the instructions and read those. And so and make sure that when they do these instructions, since this is something that often kids will be working on independently, that kids have lots of ways to access those directions. For a kid, when a kid is ready to add a response, they just click on this green add response button. And that's the same no matter what. So they've read through these directions, they know what they need to do, they click add response right there. And it will pop this up. There's two ways that teachers can assign things. So one thing they can do is just let kids have options for using these tools. And so if there's lots of options that are embedded into it for that particular lesson, lots of ways that your teacher wants you to respond, then this pops up. So kids can take a photo of themselves. There's drawing tools. They can record a video of themselves reading or giving a report. They can upload something they've done someplace else. They can create a note and just type something to their teachers, or they can link something as well. So once they've decided what they want to do, it gets put into this kind of platform, this drawing board. And the great thing here is there's all of these tools that are on it that kids can use. So there's a text tool where they can click on that and get a text box. They can record themselves reading or talking or explaining their thinking maybe around a math problem. They can take a picture or a video. And then there's more options they can do with playing with the background. There's drawing tools here that they can use and change the color. So it's really versatile in how kids can respond. So this is an example. If a teacher assigned something and just said, hey, use all of your tools that are at your disposal within it. So take a picture just directly from your webcam, or you can take a picture on a different device and upload it. You can use those drawing tools. You can insert a text box. There's all kinds of options for ways that kids can respond. Sometimes you might see that there is a template that teachers have put into the Seesaw activity. And this is just to give kids a different frame to respond. So they still have all of those tools that are available like usual, but they're gonna just use this template to then put their response into. So you might see this for both reading and for math as well. I thought maybe I'll pause right there for a second, Michael, and see if there's any questions about Seesaw that came up before we hop into where to find help.
No, not yet, but I'll keep manning the chat if there are more questions about Seesaw.
Okay. So essentially, kind of to recap what these tools do. So you've got Zoom. Zoom is really going to be that face-to-face. We're interacting in real time. And then you've got Seesaw, and that's where assignments for elementary students are going to be posted. So some, teachers can post video links there if they have some instruction that they want kids to watch. And then when you're getting together with the Zoom meetings to talk about, they will post also if your child misses the Zoom meeting, that's where those videos of the instruction via the Zoom will be. So it's really versatile in how teachers and kids can use it. For middle school, if we have middle school parents with us, you'll be using Google Classroom, and your middle school teachers should be communicating how they are using it, because each of the teachers will have slightly different ways that they will be asking you to use it. So Any questions for Seesaw that popped up, Michael?
Well, one question that came up was just the assignments that we saw in iReady previously. So now, Sequoia, the Seesaw is the main platform, and there will be an iReady button. So the students would get an assignment from their teacher saying, we need you to do X in iReady today. And so when you see your child's homepage, you'll see that there's an iReady button. It'll be below the main Seesaw page. But Seesaw is kind of the main place where kids will get directions on what to do. So if you're wondering, like, what's my kid's assignment and what are they supposed to do in Seesaw, we're asking teachers to give all directions through Seesaw. iReady is a separate place for kids to practice math, and they will be asked to use it, but it's not going to be the main place as you kind of saw in the spring. It'll
Yeah. And thank you, Sequoia, for bringing that up. Yeah, and the iReady pathways will still exist, and we will be providing more information around how those pathways will come about as we get through these first few weeks of school. But yeah, everything will come through Seesaw, through those directions. That way it's really just one spot where you're going. And then if you need to go to iReady, it's just clever that you go through and it's an icon you click on, and when your child clicks on it, then it will just take them right in. They don't have to log in separately to iReady. So our hope is that by kind of making fewer platforms and fewer entry points, that kids really will have an easier time, and families have an easier time navigating where to go within that. Anything else, Michael?
There's a question about elementary students also got an iReady book, which is a paper and pencil practice, which will also be getting assignments from. Would having a printer scanner be advantageous? We're really trying to discourage folks to have to print things, because we know not everybody has a printer. That obviously makes it really difficult for a lot of families. Yeah. So ideally, the things that we're assigning are either going to come through Seesaw and be done digitally, or the school is providing you, just like you said with the iReady math book, that math book may have assignments. The teacher may say, hey, please take a picture of the worksheet and send it to me through Seesaw. And if there, for any reason, are paper and pencil assignments, we potentially will be doing some further deliveries in the year, and those would include, some packets that we want every family to have so that you're not reliant upon printing. The hard thing that we all worry about is, how's my kid going to do online and actually doing things online? But the kids have been really adaptable. But my recommendation, if you feel like your child needs an accommodation for paper, please let your teacher know, because sometimes for kids, it's just that accommodation may be necessary to kind of help them grow into using the platform.
Can I add to that, Michael?
Yep.
So one of the things that we've been encouraging teachers to do, and we will continue to do, is because Seesaw is a really creative platform and has so many tools embedded. One of the things, like I have a son at home who loves to do and does better with that workbook, to be able to do things pen and paper. And so kids can do things, on a notebook in their workbook. And then because this camera right here is embedded right into the response for Seesaw, I can hold that up and take a picture of it. And so then my teacher can get the picture of my work on that paper that I've done. And so one thing that we're really encouraging is choice within that Seesaw platform on how kids show their work, because we know there's going to be some kids that they're going to jump on that opportunity to figure out how to make it happen on their tech, and there's some kids that really need to do that thinking on paper, and we want to make sure that we offer that inroad for both ways.
Hey, Sarah, I just wanted to comment. If you are you able to go back a screen to the parent help?
Yes, so that's the last thing we'll talk about for sure.
Okay, so that's fine. Go ahead, move ahead.
Okay. So the last thing, and then we have a little bit of time that, like Michael said, we can definitely stay on and answer questions, is we really are trying to be thoughtful about how we support each other, right? Because more than ever, school is really going to be a partnership between home and our school buildings and our teachers and staff. So this is just the start. This is the first of what we hope to have of more meetings where we bring opportunities up where families can get together and maybe learn about what's happening or ask questions about things that have come up. And then our fantastic tech department has really been working on finding also ways that that parents can access tech help when they need it. So this is the family portal. And you access it through either our main Park Rose District website, or you can also access it via your school's sites as well. But I'm actually going to pop right into it here and show you. So I'm going to the Parents tab here, Family Technology Help. And then what's great here is it's got all kinds of resources for you that you can dig into and look at your own time. I've dug into them myself as a staff member and as a Park Rose parent. But it's got how you log in on different devices, kind of an overview of Seesaw, iReady, getting started on Zoom. It has also distance learning weekly schedules for So it's a really great resource to go to anytime you're having issues. Chances are you're going to find some answers here at this great portal. And we'll continue adding to it as well. One thing, even in these past 2 weeks being back with staff, we've learned is that we learn something new every single day about these platforms. And so we'll do our best to make sure that as we learn new things that would be helpful to you all as families, that we get those on this portal for you to access as well. Michael, did you want to say anything else about that?
Yeah, I think most importantly, particularly in the first couple of weeks, we want to be able to, know what issues you're having. We definitely recognize this is new for everyone. It's new for our teachers. I've been reminding our teachers this is like being a first-year teacher because they're learning a lot of new tools. So we want your feedback, positive or negative, because that's how we're going to get better. That's how we're going to learn from the mistakes that happen along the way, and we really appreciate that. So I think that the piece under the Family Technology Help is, we're going to gauge in the first couple days of school if we need to provide more assistance depending on how many folks are having trouble getting online. But we want to make sure that you're getting the help that you need. So our tech department in Park Rose is really prepared to help with hardware issues, particularly if you have a district Chromebook, how can we help you if you're having issues? But also the other piece is if you're having trouble getting into Seesaw and so forth, we're going to do our best to be as responsive as possible. We will send, we're just in the process of possibly having an additional email for next week that folks could send an email to if you get stuck. I know that our schools have some plans of how to respond to parents who call in. I know the principals are all on the ready, and teachers, while nervous, are excited to have kids on Monday.
Yeah, and we do have under this as well, there is a support piece too that's a parent technology help desk that you can click on and fill out what's happening, and then our tech folks will get back to you to help figure out how to problem solve. We have an amazing tech department. I can't say enough about them.
All right. So I would just like, for those of you who've joined us, I just want to say thank you for your time. I know time is very precious right now. It's flying by. I just have a deep appreciation for all your balancing within your families with COVID-19, racial unrest, fires, evacuations that are going on. I know that many of you likely have friends, family members who are impacted by the fires, and that is an evolving situation. And if things do change, we did have a middle school pass out that's scheduled for tomorrow, and we are going to cancel school-based activities, obviously because of the hazardous air conditions, and it's just recommending that all of us aren't outside tomorrow, and particularly our young kids. So we'll keep you informed, and we'll do our best to to adjust as needed. So if you want to stay online, you're welcome to stay online to ask questions. Those of you who don't have further questions, again, we'll post this to the webpage just to where Sarah showed in the parent support. So if you have folks who somehow struggled to get online tonight, I'll ask Andrea, our wonderful executive assistant to the board, and myself to get that out for folks to see on social media, because it'll just be, again, Sarah and I's face and the recording of the slideshow. So thank you. Good night to all those folks. And then Sarah and I will stick around for anybody who still has questions. You're welcome to raise your hand if you do. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Have a great night. Looks like Evan. Evan, do you have a question?
Yeah, hi you guys.
Hi, Evan.
First off, thank you so much, Sarah and Michael, for the presentation tonight. It's been really informative and grateful for the information. A couple pronged questions here. So I have a daughter at Russell in kindergarten. Will there be staff on site on a daily basis if for some reason there's power outage or there's no way for us to, okay, so there will be?
Yeah. These power outage situations have obviously been unique and unexpected, but
Right.
We do have folks on site. I know our principals have been on site every day. We have a lot of staff who are working from their classrooms. We've given them the option to work from home or from their classrooms. So we plan to, worst case scenario, there's always, the district office is always manned. So if you're having trouble getting through to the school, please contact us at the district office.
Yeah, and one of the things, that's one of the reasons we're asking, teachers really to post lessons and things on Seesaw, because we know things are going to happen, life happens.
Right.
We're all working and trying to support kids at home. And so that's where, if you do miss something, then you'll have it on Seesaw where then you can watch it and work through things in a time that is right for your family.
And then real quickly, as far as like substitute teachers go, if there is there any, I mean, I'm just looking back when I was 100 years ago in school, and that process of like when a teacher was out sick or whatever, what is there, is it pretty much the, par for the course on that?
Yeah, we've established a protocol because we know that in this situation, it's pretty tough to call a sub into a situation. So we've created a plan with our teachers, and our principals are aware of that plan. So what you likely would see is you would likely see maybe a teammate teacher coming in, or the teacher in the case of an emergency would say, I've posted some asynchronous work today. We're not going to do the live video session. So it'll be a combination of those two things. Very likely that you would see another teacher from the school just hosting the class for that day, and then just leading them to the work that they would need to do in Seesaw.
Okay. Well, thank you both very much. I appreciate your time tonight.
You're welcome. Thanks for being here.
No problem. Looks like we've got a few more hands raised.
So Sherry and Sunlight, I responded to Sunlight, but yes, you can still get hotspots. We do still have them. And your school has them. Christine, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure the schools still have some hotspots remaining, and if not, we do have some in our tech department. Okay, she's saying I'm not sure they all do. So I think we check with the school first, and the worst case scenario, we would just contact our tech department and get one out to you, okay? Looks like, hi there, do you have a question?
Hello?
Hi, do you have a question?
I do. Hi, it's Ebonique again.
Hi.
I was wondering, I have a kid that was attending Park Rose High School.
Uh-huh.
And she's Lanaya. You know Lanaya, Michael.
Yeah, Ebonique,
Hi.
Hear your voice.
So Lanaya was kind of like in between schools with her situation with being expelled and all that.
Yep.
And she was doing tutoring at the district before the pandemic, and I'm not sure what happened. I lost communication with the tutor some kind of way. Anyways, she was on the list for Helensview, so I'm just trying to figure out, I need to get her with the whole virtual learning thing, and I don't know who I need to talk to get her going somewhere or started.
Okay, so Ebonique, I wrote your name down. I'm going to talk to Julie Sams. She's the one who coordinates this. So it'll either be connecting Lanaya back to the high school, which is a possibility, or or finding out what's happening with Helensview. Do you have an email that I can get back to you on?
Yes.
And you're welcome to. You can privately chat that to me, or you can send me an email.
I had posted it once in the chat. I can do it again.
Oh, you did to Nicole?
Yes, I did.
Okay, I'll go back in the chat and find it, and then I'll send you an email tomorrow. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Bye.
Yeah, say hi to Lanaya.
I definitely will. Have a good night.
You too. Take care. All right. I don't see any other questions. Any other questions from folks?
I have a question.
Sure.
I just tried to check the calendar so I wouldn't have to ask, but are there still professional days and like those odd days off that happen throughout the year?
Yeah, so we do have, so our Wednesdays are still, half days where.
Oh, okay, yeah, good point.
Yeah, teachers will have professional development in the afternoon. And then also there are days throughout the year, and the calendar is accessible on the website too and has those days marked.
Okay, cool.
As well.
Yeah,
right,
we will, we'll make updates to the calendar. The other thing just to keep in mind, we'll do our best. Our school board will have a discussion at the end of this month about whether or not we extend distance learning. We're at about 38 cases per 100,000 for COVID right now. It's below 10 for 3 weeks in a row. And so we have a November target date. Things have been declining slowly, which is a good sign, but the schedule for hybrid we'll definitely be giving folks a heads up if kids are able to come back to school.
Okay, cool. And I guess on that other note, you reminded me of a question. What if your child has to be absent for illness or a family thing or whatever? Do we just still call the office, or do we just go online and say, hey, he's not coming?
Either option will work. You can call the front office. There will be people in the front office, and if that's the easiest way to do it, I would recommend doing that. But you also have the ability to email the teacher or text the teacher through.
Cool.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thanks for being here. Any other questions from folks? All right, looks like maybe a panelist.
I had a question.
Do you have a question? Go ahead.
Yeah. So talking about the middle school Park Rose, am I correct that they're gonna have Fridays off?
Yeah, so Fridays there won't be actual class time, but the middle school students will have work to do. During the week, they're going to be getting assignments and so I think as a middle school parent, you'll want to make sure that in their virtual classrooms that your child's sharing with you, like, here are the assignments that are due, because it's not very likely at all that if your kid says, hey, I don't have any work to do today, teachers will be assigning work for kids to do, and teachers on Fridays will be checking in with students who aren't getting their work done and meeting one-on-one with families to make sure, because the class load is much heavier for middle school and high school kids.
Mm-hmm.
So in other words, there's not going to be the regular schedule, but they will be required to turn in homework or meet with the teacher.
Yep.
Okay.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Hi there. Do you have a question?
Yeah. Hey, me again. I assume there'll be like teacher conferences and stuff with parents on a regular. Will there be additional like weekly or month? Like, is there going to be a frequency of check-ins with?
Yeah, we definitely have asked for more communication because of the circumstances, and that will include a variety of things. Our district uses the Remind app, so very simply getting regular texts about, class expectations. Seesaw is another vehicle, so when you go into your child's page, it is pretty easy to go in. My own child's on Seesaw. I can see exactly what's been assigned, and I also know whether he's turned it in or not. Mm-hmm. So that makes a really big difference, because obviously when kids are live in instruction, you don't necessarily know what's due and what's not due. Mm-hmm. So we definitely plan to up that, particularly for kids. We are prioritizing kids that aren't engaging, and we want to make sure that we're reaching out to them. Our formal parent conferences are the week of Thanksgiving. So kids don't have school that week, but you will have an opportunity for a virtual conference with your child's teacher.
And then as far as like, I don't even know how that would work with like, not accommodations, but essentially like support for kids that maybe need more one-on-one. Are there resources or what does that look like?
So a combination of our specialists in the district, our special educators, they'll be working as a team with classroom teachers to provide additional support to students who may have individual education plans. English language learner teachers will be working with students who are our emerging bilingual students who, in some cases, emerging trilingual students who will receive additional language support. So we're trying to integrate all the support services as best we can at the elementary level into the regular classroom. So our special educators know what those class expectations are. And frankly, for those students who require more intensive support, it is a priority as soon as it is safe to get them back to school, because we know that those needs are greater and adult support is needed. So that's definitely something that weighs on my head and my heart.
Great. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Sorry, I have one more quick question. Is that okay?
Of
Yeah,
course.
of course.
So I just was curious if there will be some sort of help for kids, because I know for my kids, they were kind of scared about not just Corona, but now with the fires and all of this, they're even asking if the world is coming to an end. So I'm just, will there be any sort of mental health or counseling for the kids? Can you give us a little bit of info about that, if any?
Yeah, of course. Each of our schools, all the way up through the high school, all have counseling support. Our counselors at the elementary level in particular will be meeting with students regularly. They'll be checking in with classes. It is also important to note, as Park Rose community members and your kids being students in our district, the Park Rose School-Based Health Center is open. It is the only school-based health center that is open. And so if your child's experiencing mental health difficulties and you still feel like there's extra support, the school-based health clinic is a good place to check in, because there are support services through Multnomah County as well. But definitely there will be support at the school level. If your child's really struggling, I think all of our kids to a certain level are really struggling, because like you said, that there's a lot going on. It's hard for all of us to process. And we're really trying to be cognizant of that and make sure that we're taking time to, go slow to go fast. We don't want to overwhelm our kids, because they're all wondering what's going on just like we are. And we're hopeful to do so. I think there's a question here. Jasmine, do you have a question?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, I had a question just regarding for attendance. Is there any protocol for that, or is that taking place? And if so, how can we ensure whether the time frame students should be on for attendance? And
yeah, so I think the important thing to note about attendance and the trickiness, during distance learning is we recognize that obviously parents are working, they're trying to balance, taking care of other kids, and that is going to be challenging. So I do want to emphasize that attendance is really going to be based on participation with the classwork that students are being assigned. I think it's really important, for instance, if your family where the 9 to 12 isn't working very well, that you talk to the teacher and say, can you please share recordings of what you're teaching? We're asking our teachers to be prepared to be able to do that, because we know that we are not planning to penalize students who may not be able to join that class at 9. But what we are looking for with attendance is that student getting online? Are they looking at the classwork? Are they turning their classwork in? Are they trying to communicate with the teacher? Because that counts as attending school just as much as showing up to the morning meeting that starts at 9 o'clock.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming tonight. Any other questions? All right, well, thank you so much. What we're hopeful to do in the coming weeks is we're going to be really listening to your needs, and we likely will provide some follow-up sessions for parents who just need additional help. We're doing the same thing for our teachers. So we just appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedules to join us tonight. So thanks very much, and I wish you a lovely rest of Thursday evening. Thanks, Sarah. You were awesome.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Take care.
Thank you for everything. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Sure.